What's up, guys? My name's Alexi Michael, owner of and founder of learntocut, one of the largest online platforms in the world. And guys, we have the one and only Adi in the call today. Guys, I want to make an intro before we get started here because this is a special one as well, where Adi, and I'll kind of pre-frame this by saying who Adi was before and who he is now after going through our program. So before, joining the program, he was charging an average of $45 and averaging about 20 clients a week, making about 3,500 Canadian a month. Wasn't booked out in advance, needed to build a personal brand and improve video editing, content creation for Instagram, wanted a deeper understanding with precision cutting, longer lengths, and education potentially. Now, and current goal was to buy a family house. This was before. So after Learn to Cut, he's built his Instagram to over 100K views in 30 days after joining for December, and an additional 104 followers, almost doubled his income, guys, without raising his prices. He went from 3,500 a month to 6,000 with an improved consistency with a pre-booked and satisfied clientele. He's widened his knowledge and built confidence with his skill set, and he's never seen progress in the past 7 years as much as he's seen it within our program. He's rebuilding his home studio for a cleaner look, and he feels very confident in building his personal brand. Guys, ladies and gentlemen, Adi. Dude, how does that sound? As I'm saying that,
that sounded beautiful. Honestly, that sounded like too good to be true, bro. But yeah. It is. That's the point, right? Like, there's even more than in what you said. Like, the way this program has really reshaped everything, like mindset wise, skill set wise for me. Like, honestly, I couldn't thank you enough.
Yeah, right? Dude. So let's get into it. Like, I want to kind of ask a pretty general question, right? Like, why don't you really walk me through what was going through your head before you joined the program? Like, who were you? What phase were you in your life? Like, what got you to just kind of take this leap of faith? A lot of the times I always say this is one of the scariest things for people, because it's not easy investing a lot of money into yourself, right? And making that decision, especially when it's probably every dollar you've worked for the last few months, right? So walk me through this, dude. Who were you before? What phase in life were you in? Where were you at mentally? What was going through your head at this point?
I'm glad you asked. Well, I worked at one barbershop since I started cutting hair, and then now I'm working independently. So that one barbershop I was in for that 7 years, I ended up being the manager there. I ended up training staff there, and I did a lot of things, but I never saw that personal growth. I never saw that skill set growth beyond what I would compare to let's say a local barber, right? And then in that 1 year of here, it just everything changed, right? So yeah, when I was cutting the last 7 years, the passion was very low. The drive was very low. Even though I was doing it every day in and out, I was cutting way more volume. I had no joy in what I was doing before. Definitely not as much as I do now. And creativity wise, I just didn't know how to do the things that I wanted to do or get the knowledge for the things that I wanted to do.
So walk me through this. 7 years you've been working at this barbershop, right? Mm-hmm. Why did you feel like you weren't getting the level of information, the knowledge? Why was that? Do you feel like the mentors weren't the right ones? Did you feel like you were kind of in a position where you're 6 years, 7 years in, you're like, dude, I feel stagnant. I'm not really growing. Was that kind of where you were at, which made you get closer to the decision of actually taking the program?
100%. I feel like once your employer puts you in a cage in his mind, then it's very hard for you to leave that cage, right? So once I finally broke out of that, I was there training staff, I was training these guys, and I didn't even feel like I was at the level at that point to do that. So I was like, if I'm the highest in my little pond, and what if I leave this pond? I was like, how much further can I get?
Absolutely.
Right? So that was my mindset.
Okay, cool. So then walk me through this. 7 years, you're not seeing progress. What was the deciding factor of you know what, I'm gonna take this chance with these guys? First, how did you hear us? And then second, I like to call this straw on the camel's back for you to be enough is enough. I need to see myself grow. I'm gonna take this chance.
Honestly, I've been watching you for a while. I've been watching a few of your students. And when I realized more and more that the new barbers that I were watching all came from this program, I was like, well, something's going on, right? It all connects back to the great man, Alex himself, right? So I was like, all right, so what is this guy teaching that I want to know? As well as your introduction call, I would say, for most people, if you just go and take that introduction call and see, what's actually being offered and talk to like one of the staff members, like Justin Bennett, obviously a great guy that you work closely with. Once I got on that call with him, like I was still half debating. I was very, very unsure. And then I got on that call and he answered every question, every doubt that I could possibly have. And then from there, the vibe aligned so well, like so well on that first call. Right away, I was like, this is where I need to be. This is where I'm going to get the knowledge I need.
Yeah. Love that, man. And kudos to Justin. I think it's important for people to know as well that a lot of the people we hire in our community, in our program, are people that are actual barbers that have owned even barbershops that are still consistently, like they have barbershops right now. John Lloyd, Rob, Razvan, they all have businesses and they are educators and they've gone through the program. Like for me, what's so important, and I preach this in the program, so it has to be aligned, like, which is like what I teach people is like product, right? Like if your product is really good, the rest becomes easy. Your skill set needs to be good enough for your branding to explode. Like it becomes very difficult to brand yourself with a shitty product. Same applies to our business. So, to go back to your point, Justin is one of those people, ran a, 7-figure business in Vancouver, had 3 salons, and then had his exit and then came into our program and wanted to be one of the coaches here and really build this business with me. So cool, man. Let's now fast forward a little bit. You took this leap of faith, you took the chance, right? What was going through your head initially? Were you like nervous? Were you scared? And then at what point were you like, holy shit, I'm seeing some improvement now. I'm seeing these guys are teaching the right things. Like the tools now I'm able to learn I'm able to apply, and I'm seeing some progress. What point did that happen?
I would say it was so like subsequently every single week, it was more and more and more. Like honestly, I think like maybe just a month in, I was like, whoa, there's so much more that I know in just 1 month. Like 4 calls with John Lloyd, like great guy, right? I was like, there is so much more to learn. Like my little world expanded so far. Honestly, maybe even in the first week, just watching like the kinetics courses and stuff like that, it's like, wow, like my understanding is so low, and I was doing very well. I was doing like high complicated cuts, but I didn't have like that understanding. And when you can take that understanding and know the rules, you can really break out of those rules and do whatever you want from there, right? So yep. I think it happened so instantly, right? Again and again and again.
I love that you said that. You can't break the rules till you know the rules. And I preach that a lot, which is you can't go and become creative when you haven't built your foundation. Everyone's trying to become like, I don't know if you see these pictures on Instagram, these videos, you see all these crazy like creative haircuts, but then they can't really do a simple haircut. Yeah. Doing a creative haircut becomes way easier, and it becomes creative when you have the knowledge and control of actually being able to execute it. But that only happens with your foundation. So I love that you said that, dude. Cool. Let's walk. I want to keep going here. I want to ask you a few more questions. But what was your biggest win in the program? What was the biggest thing that you made you realize like, wow, like these guys like have genuinely helped me, and I see why they say what they say, and I see why they do what they do. Like at what point was there like a specific moment that like you were like, okay, this is what I needed this whole time?
I mean, it's hard because there were so many wins along the way, right? But if I had to summarize it to the biggest win, right? Because now the last year I've been independent in my studio where there's no sign outside, there's no driving, walk-in traffic telling you to come.
I mean, let's talk about that. 7 years you worked in a barbershop, right, Adi? Why did you decide to go on your own? What was the pivotal point there? I guess that's a big one, right? You made that decision throughout our program.
I would say I completely believe in myself. I 100,000% believe that I don't need anybody else to tell me that I'm great and to tell my clients to come to me. But even though I had that feeling, right, what was one of the biggest impacts through the course, right, is how do I get those clients on a day-to-day, monthly basis through my videos, through my marketing, to come and verify that I am the barber for them. And the knowledge that I gained from the course, right, statistically, like I could show you like how much more clientele I was driving towards booking with me through only a few months, honestly, even the first month of the course. And that's what told me, like, as long as I can get the guys in, I can show them that I'm great enough.
Dude, so powerful that you said that. And another thing I want to add something to that, right? A lot of barbers working at a barbershop right now, they say this to me all the time. Like, dude, I can't raise my prices because my boss doesn't want to. But here's the thing. When you have the leverage of you being able to get the clients from your own 2 hands, from your own marketing, you have the leverage to then decide to leave. But a
Yep.
lot of the people don't want to leave because here's the thing. If you go up to your boss and you tell them, I want to raise your prices, and you're actually able to show them statistically, like you said, that, look, man, these are my clients because I've driven the traffic through my Instagram, through my socials to get them. And they say no after you prove it to them, you still have the leverage to leave. You still have won, right? But a lot of the times people are too afraid to do that because they don't have the leverage, because they don't have the marketing. You got to a point where you had the leverage. You're like, I don't need you guys anymore. Whether you stayed or you didn't, you still would have been successful, but you had the leverage now to make that decision and you were in control of it. So it's your choice to stay or your choice to leave.
Yep, I totally agree.
Cool, man. So walk me through some stuff as well. I think this is going to help a lot of the barbers. What would you say were the biggest kind of hurdles? What was the biggest pain points for you before you joined the program? You mentioned that you wanted to get better with scissor work, but what was the thing that was really the biggest struggle for you?
I would say, are we talking about just hair or the whole
in general, the whole everything? If you could pinpoint maybe one or two things that was like, this is the one thing I just couldn't figure out, and finally you were able to figure out.
I think our industry has such a lopsided of like the lower side and the higher side, right? And I think it's normal everyday barbers that don't know that or don't take this job as seriously as maybe some other careers, right? And they just kind of makeshift, show up to the shop and they're cutting hair and they're booked out, and then they leave and they show up the next day, right? So one thing was systemizing everything, getting everything organized, right? Intentionally knowing what I was doing the next day, and if I wasn't booked, what I was doing in those hours that I wasn't booked, not just on the barber chair scrolling and then a guy comes in and I'm brushing off the chair, like, come sit down, bro, right? It's like, I saw barbers do that on a daily basis, and I know barbers that do that on a daily basis. Now I treat it like a 9 to 5. If I don't have a client, like I'm editing a video, I'm writing a script, I'm doing something to my studio, I'm renovating, I'm actively treating it like a real hustle, and treating it that way is what got me the gains that I got, and LTC showed me how to do that properly.
I love that. So to add to that, systems was the biggest thing. And do you feel now like you've been able to, with your new shop, are you able to take some of the understandings and apply it to your own business right now?
100%. I would say most of the way I run my shop is the way that I was taught by LTC.
Cool, man. And I think one of the last questions, which I love to ask, which is, what can we expect now from you? What is the next stage for you? What can we expect from Adi?
I think really the sky is the limit. I want to obviously work even more on my skill set. I think I'm a continuous learner in life, and I can only get better. I want to eventually one day set trends. I want to be at the top of the industry. I want to educate. I want to open my own barbershop. I want to teach other people. I want to travel and cut hair. And I think through this last few months, I've gained all like the stuff to propel me, at least at minimum, to propel me into that type of barber. Because now I know what it takes and what I have to do. Now all I have to do is go out and do it. So
that's right.
It's pretty simple from here.
Yeah, I love that you simplified it. And then one last thing, dude, before I also ask one extra question, but one last thing is, for people that are on the fence, people like you initially, you said you were hesitating, and you ended up having that conversation with Justin that made you realize, like, okay, this is exactly what I need. What can you tell to those people? Put yourself in the shoes of Adi before jumping on that call. What can you tell to those people being on the fence of joining?
I mean, there's a reason why there's only 1% of investing mindset in the world, right? It takes a lot of jump. It takes a lot of leap of faith. But I would say to those people, right, just get on the call. Like, if you have that doubt, go let these guys clear it out for you. And at worst, right, it's like, you can't just be sitting in your room saying, oh, I'm stagnant, look, I want to be better, and then not do anything about it. Invest in yourself, because the shortcut to success is these guys. Like, don't struggle on trying to learn it for free somewhere else when they will give you the proven roadmap as quickly as possible. So you'll actually end up saving money by giving it to them, right? And time. Honestly, the time was my thing, right? Because it was like, I thought I was so far in my career. I was like, if I don't make it now, like, what am I gonna do? So I dropped the money, and I am so glad I did.
And dude, that's why there's only a few people in the industry that are the best. and it's everyone else. The gap is getting wider and wider. There's only this many people that are the best, and it's everyone else at the bottom. And I think what you said best, bro, is like only 1% of people invest, because only 1% of the people have that mindset to really go all in on themselves and believe in themselves. And honestly, it really, like, what people don't realize is what you said, bro. It's like, at the end of the day, what is your other option and what is your other choice? You want to stay stagnant, you want to stay the same, then do the thing that you've been doing for the last year, 6 months, 2 years, 3 years. But if you want to make a change, take the chance. Whether or not we are the answer to your problems, you now have built the confidence that you are in control over making the decision to change. That's one of the biggest wins here. And then if and from what you said, and if we are giving you the results, then that's that freaking cherry on top. Yeah. But that decision has to consistently happen, because through making more decisions, there will be mistakes. But the only way to learn and grow is by actually taking a chance, is actually by committing to change.
One of my favorite quotes, right, is like, a smart person learns from their mistakes, but it takes a genius to learn from other people's mistakes, right? And I feel like that's what I'm doing right now, because, you and the other mentors, John and Justin, right? They're like, okay, man, like, I made this mistake at the starting, right? One thing, like, at the starting, I knew a lot of like the basics, and John was like, man, don't rush it. He's like, I just need you to learn these fundamentals. And it kind of hurt me. I was like, I feel like I'm better than this, right? But I just went through it and I trusted John. And then 3-4 months later, when I'm doing something crazy, I'm actually using a lot of the fundamentals that John made me go through, right? And it's like, well, now I'm learning because John told me, I made this mistake. He's like, I'm 20 years in, then I have to go back and learn from scratch again. And Absolutely. He made me not have to do that, which saved me so much time.
Yeah. And dude, like I'm going to piggyback on what you said there. You said, one thing that keeps coming into my mind is like, how Connie goes, name me a genius that ain't crazy. Crazy is only to the eye of the normal in regards to making the change. You're crazy till you try something new. That's the crazy. Crazy is like the person that keeps trying something new. But what they don't realize, a psychopath does the same thing over and over and over again, expecting change. Yeah. That's a psychopath. Yeah. So
I totally agree.
I guess we're crazy. We're crazy.
And I'm okay with that, bro.
Yeah. I guess we're crazy. Cool, bro. What's your handle for people if they want to, follow you, support you? What's the Instagram?
Yeah, bro. It's going to be Addi, A-D-D-I, Banks with a Z, B-A-N-K-Z, Addi Banks.
Love it, man. And I'll kind of final say here, dude, extremely proud of you. This is like, I love these conversations, and I've seen your progress, and I can't wait. Obviously, you got your studio now, so that's another big step in your life. I cannot wait to see what you do. And, you're Canadian proud here. You're all the way from Toronto. So you're one of the brothers, bro. So excited to see your journey, excited to see what happens next. And guys, this is Addi, and hopefully you guys follow him and follow his journey. And take care, everybody. Catch you all soon.
Thanks, guys.